activity of North Korean group Lazarus in the Middle East.
Hello and welcome to episode 22, season 1 of your Cyber Threat Intelligence podcast. Whether you're a seasoned CTI expert, a cybersecurity professional, or simply curious about the digital battlefield, our expert guests and host will break down complex topics into actionable insights. On this episode of season 1, our host Pedro Kertzman will chat with Valeri Soloninka, who is an experienced Russian-speaking cybersecurity professional with more than 5 years of experience in SOC operations, incident response, and security engineering. Valerii is tracking threat actors to understand their tactics and turning that knowledge into practical defenses. He is currently based in the United Arab Emirates, where he works on protecting government entities from cyber threats. Over to you, Pedro.
Valerie, thank you so much for coming to the show. I'm really happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Pedro, so much. Thank you for having me here today. I'm glad to be with you and glad to talk about threat intelligence and cybersecurity in general, my journey, my experience, share with your listeners. And yeah, I think it's going to be nice.
That's awesome. Usually I start asking the guests about their journey into CTI. Would you mind walking us through that, please?
Yeah, sure. That's basically why I'm here today. So yeah, my journey started in high school. That was the first time I was thinking about where to go, what to do with my life. I was like 17 years old, and I was going through the different universities in my city. By the way, I'm from Russia, from Moscow, and I thought where to go, what to do. So and I found one university. So they have this type of classes about the computer security. I think, at the time it was called computer security. And I just thought, it sounds cool. Cybersecurity, computer security, security just in general sounds pretty cool. It's all about viruses. That's cool stuff. So they basically promised us that we're going to do a lot of cool stuff, writing viruses, different programs, hacking computers. So it was really cool. That's basically why I chose this direction. And this is where it's all started. So I joined the university, the classes had started, but I was kind of a little bit disappointed because the study program itself, it was a bit outdated. Yeah, the topics were completely different from what we were promised in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then going forward, I just realized that computer security, the direction that I chose, it was kind of hard for me to handle because it had strong focus on the cryptography and the math itself. It wasn't my strongest side, I would say. So that's why in the middle of studying, the whole period of studying university in Russia usually takes 5.5 years. So in the middle of my journey, I decided to slightly change the direction I was going for. And instead of continuing my study in computer security, I went for something called information security. Mm-hmm. So it was more kind of generic without that strong focus on the math. Yeah, it was more about like how to secure information, not like about cryptography itself. So this is a quick introduction in my computer security, my university experience. Then after I finished the university, basically, even before I finished the university, usually we start looking for a job to get initial experience on the third year, on fourth year, it depends. But at the time, my girlfriend, so the girlfriend, now she's my wife, she decided to start looking for a job as well. So that was a part of my motivation, I would say, because if my girlfriend started looking for a job, so I have to as well, because I need to go to cinema and to the restaurants with her. So that was a part of my motivation. I got my first job as, I would say, junior cybersecurity engineer, almost 1 year before finishing the university. So I gained some initial working experience, and it was a small company. It was a contractor. So my main responsibilities is to go on site to the client location, deploy different kind of software and hardware. If we talk about software, it was mostly antiviruses software, different ones. If we talk about hardware, it was mostly network hardware, like switches and network routers. Before starting my job, I was able to finish Cisco CCNA courses. I guess for a lot of people and your listeners, it probably might was a first step to become in IT or in cybersecurity. Finishing these courses, it gave me a good experience about network. Actually, I think in 4 months, I was probably able to get more knowledge about the network, about not IT, but mostly about the network and cybersecurity than in the last three years studying in university.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was very effective, I would say.
Yeah, hands-on is always better. But that's awesome. Thanks for walking us through your journey into the IT and security. And why you decided to pivot to CTI after that? How that story played out for you?
So after working 1 year, I think it was one year and 3 months working as an engineer, like going on site and deploying software hardware as it told. I thought that something related to operations, like cybersecurity and cyber operations, would be more interesting for me. That's how I pivoted into the SOC role in the Security Operations Center. It was the biggest bank in Russia. Gained plenty of experience. I think that was one of the most important steps in my career because, when you work in such big organization, you work in enterprise. So working in enterprise gives you an idea about how big companies operate, how they interact with other companies and inside the organization as well. So, and I think logical step after you work in a SOC role is to pivot into different domain in cybersecurity, I would say.
Get specialized.
Yeah, specialized domain. Exactly. It could be incident response or digital forensic or cybersecurity engineering or threat hunting, for example, or threat intelligence. So I thought it would be nice to be more preventive, I think, more than reactive, and to get more information and knowledge about the threat actors in the wild. Because at the time when I joined the SOC, I started reading different reports by different cybersecurity vendors, and I thought it's really cool. I want to be that guy who make this impact, who write those cool reports. Yeah, the reality is different, but at the time I thought it would be really cool to write those reports and make such a big impact for other people who read those reports. Yeah, that's how I thought that I need to go to CTI.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned your first experiences at home in Russia. And any particular, because I think especially for people in the west side of the map, they sometimes are not super aware of the Russian, let's say, legitimate cybersecurity market, the industry. People often hear stories about threat actors and stuff, but there's like a big market, right? It's like a really big industry in Russia. Any thoughts around that?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I think Russian cybersecurity market is something similar to Chinese security market because they kind of isolated from the West. Big Western vendors, they won't work. Some of them do, but not in the cybersecurity. In cybersecurity consulting, I would say. So they still supply software. They used to supply software before the war in 2022 emerged between Russia and Ukraine. They used to supply different kind of software. Like I had a chance to work with some of EDR vendors and consultancy companies. And the market itself is very huge because it's was driven and it's been driven by authorities because there are laws that make different companies. So it's basically mandatory to have cybersecurity in your organization. There are certain ways and loops that you can avoid it, like everywhere else, I guess.
Yep.
But it's still big market and it's been driven mostly by the government. It's very similar to China because it's, yes, as I mentioned, it's very close, but there is a lot of talented people who still work there. And from CTI standpoint, it's quite interesting because, for example, if you work in a Russian organization and you need to gain knowledge about threat actors that may attack you or you may become a target for them, it's not that easy. Like, for example, if you work in Western organization, because there are very, very, very few Russian organizations that actually publish their report and knowledge about threat actors or attacks in public, like compared to the Western market. Because, like, if we draw a threat landscape, for example, for Russia, it's probably going to be West, right? But for West, it's going to be we all know for big players in the threat actors nexuses. It's Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea. There is like plenty of different public reports that you can read, and at least you can get idea about the threat actors that might attack you, or you might become a target for them. But in Russia, it's a bit different, I guess. In Russia, you have to rely on the partnership between organizations and rely on the vendors that work for the Russian market itself. Yeah, I guess that's the biggest difference and the big challenge for organizations and for players who currently work in the Russian market.
No, that's awesome. And I think that it's interesting the way you put it, because a lot of people might think that the attacks in general might be flowing always from like east to the west. But you mentioned that even the cybersecurity is mandatory for Russian companies to have that, because like anybody else in the world, somebody can get infected with something or be attacked from other parts of the world and targeting Russian companies. So they also got to have like a reasonable security apparatus, right?
Yeah. So there was one interesting case. I think one of the company, Western player, so big vendor, they published a report on the North Korean threat actors. It sounds weird because Russia and North Korea kind of allies, but still, one of the vendor they published, they found I think a sample on the virus total that was basically it was a Word document infected with the embedded malware. Written in Russian language, and they were able to identify the targeting organization, and they attributed this attack back to the North Korean threat actors. It means still you kind of allies, but in the same way you still need to gather intelligence about your ally to understand what they want to do or to collect some information that might be required to develop your, for example, strategic or rockets program. Yeah, and I think. Somehow it might be related. I mean, the fact that Russian companies, they don't publish that much information about the attacks or threat actors they know. It's something related to culture maybe, and to the point that Russian market itself is quite closed. So you cannot just throw everything in and start selling your stuff for Russian government or Russian companies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And from Moscow to Abu Dhabi, how that happened? How does move from a career standpoint and life standpoint as well all happened?
Yeah, first of all, it's quite hot here in summer, but yeah, it was totally unexpected for me when I started my career. I thought, maybe someday I want to move abroad. I want to work in the West or apparently in the Middle East. But I never actually, it never was my goal to do that. But I think after almost 8 months after I finished my university, I thought I had the LinkedIn profile at the time. LinkedIn was quite useful at the time, not as now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had just my LinkedIn profile with some basic information. And one day, I think it was August, I get a message like, we have an opportunity for you in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE. I thought, like, Abu Dhabi? What is Abu Dhabi? I know only about Dubai, but what is Abu Dhabi? But yeah, I got to know that Abu Dhabi is actually a capital of UAE, so I was surprised. Yeah, first of all, I thought it was scam or some sort of prank, but I thought, why not to give it a go? Just give it a try. Yeah, and apparently for I think it was 5 months. Yeah, the hiring process took some time, but after 5 months, I took my flight. I got my tickets and I landed in December. So it was August, and in December landed in Dubai. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how is the cybersecurity market in Abu Dhabi overall?
So I'm gonna talk about the UAE, I think, and Middle East itself in general, because more or less, like if you take the Middle East countries, biggest Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE. Market more or less similar in all those countries. It depends. The amount of opportunities might be different in each country. More or less, the market itself is similar. In terms of the culture, for example, and in terms of the salary as well, and in terms of the taxes. In the UAE, income tax is 0%. I think it's Saudi and Qatar as well. I'm not really sure about that, but I think it's 0 as well. I think in the market was the strongest back in 2016. I think between 2016 and maybe between 2021, 22. Basically, the market was in the best shape it's ever been. Nowadays, market is quite tough, just because of the, I think, recession in the whole world after the COVID, after overhiring. So it also impacts the Middle East the same way. There is a big salary discrepancy, I would say, from company to company. Depends on the organization that you're supposed to join. For example, is it semi-government company? Is it government company? Or is it multinational company? It depends. But yeah, market is tough. A lot of people want to move to the UAE. They want to work here, not only to the UAE, of course, but to the Middle East in general, because they feel that it might be a safe harbor for them. Zero taxes, good weather most of the year. They have very good services as well. Like compare, okay, not to compare, just very comfortable life, I would say. And it's quite safe in all those countries, Qatar, UAE, Saudi, Kuwait, Oman. So all those countries, you can easily walk out in 1 a.m. in the night, middle of the street, nothing will happen to you ever.
On that journey, just maybe going back a little bit, from a SOC analyst to a more specialized CTI expert, any lessons learned for people that are potentially doing like a similar move from SOC to a more dedicated CTI position?
So yeah, I think so. If you want to make a move from SOC to CTI, the biggest ability you must have for that is curiosity. I mean, it's not only for CTI, to be honest, but for CTI, I think it's one of the main points, that one of the main things you need to have to be successful. You need to be successful in cybersecurity in general. I mean, you need to have curiosity just to be successful in general, but in CTI, I think it's especially important, because if you don't know something, or if you encounter something that is unknown to you, or you don't know how to solve any problem, please Google it, try to find the solution, use ChatGPT, but I follow the routine. If I don't know something or I don't understand, first of all, time to Google it and find the answer myself. If I can't, then yeah, of course, I usually use any kind of LLM just to help me out and better understand the problem. And while the soft skills are important, it's also important to do not forget about the technical skills. So even it's well known that CTI is also about the reports, but to be successful again in CTI, because with the LLM basically can write report for you if you provide if you provide correct data. So the LLM basically can write ideal report like you're a native speaker. So it actually helps me a lot when I don't know how to put the certain things on the paper. Don't forget about your technical skills, because programming languages, part of incident response, how exactly certain things happening, like how memory works in the computers, for example, or how the network works, how DNS works, HTTP, HTTPS. All this stuff is very important to better understand cybersecurity and the CTI. Because luckily or unluckily, I don't know, cybersecurity is one of the domains, I think, where you need to be expert in certain niches, but in the same time, you have to understand a lot of things. Like, even if you work in CTI, it would be nice if you can understand how a computer works and how the DevOps, for example, the DevOps or programming languages. So you need to know everything, but you need to be expert in some certain niches that you want to be expert in.
100%. And from you were mentioning the various CTI domains or areas of expertise as well. Anyone is your favorite within the whole CTI umbrella?
So yeah, the CTI itself is quite huge. So you can specialize in different aspects of CTI. So there's, as we know, there are usually 3 types of CTI products that you deliver on the 3 different levels: operational, tactical, and strategical. I don't like what I can say that is I don't like strategical. I don't think that is my strongest area. I think I can make the biggest impact on the tactical and operational levels. I really enjoy working with good IR people, incident response teams, helping them out and figuring out what is the best way just to help them during the incident response, to guide them, to direct them, look for any signs of attribution or deep dive into the certain indicators of compromise, investigate the infrastructure or details that they share with you because it helps you to attribute a certain threat actor. So there is always like a puzzle. So they share different findings with you, and based on those findings, you're supposed to find a threat actor that might be behind this attack. So this is one of the aspects, and the other one is talking to the SOC teams, talking to vulnerability management teams, for example, to understand the ways how exactly I can help them to solve their problems. Because CTI, if you work in CTI, CTI is generally is industry that and domain that's supposed to help other teams. So you cannot have CTI if you cannot help other teams, because CTI itself is not an independent function. It's usually a function that's supposed to help other functions to act more effectively, to do the things in the more efficient way.
Any particular interesting stories from your favorite interactions with either one of those teams that you mentioned that you really like to work with?
Yeah, I think there is one case that I can mention. Usually my favorite things, I mean, when you work in CTI, is experience something that you don't expect to see at all. For example, in one of the cases, we noticed activity of North Korean group Lazarus in the Middle East, which nobody actually expected during the incident response. Yeah, it was basically part of one of their campaigns. It was very exciting, and it actually was my first time. I think I experienced working with IR team on the APT intrusion. And yeah, it was very, very really exciting. And my first time was with North Korean threat actors. It was even more exciting.
That's awesome. And any particular, learning sources that you like? YouTube channels, podcasts, blogs, books, conferences, you name it, reports, feeds, you name it. Any favorite learning sources for CTI?
Yeah, the problem, I mean, it's not a problem. It's also an opportunity nowadays that we have too many learning sources. So it's podcasts, books, courses, reports, feeds, etc., etc. So I think you don't actually need to spread too much. So if you choose your specialty, so just try to focus on it, but don't forget about other things as well. So I actually prefer listen to your podcast, and I have a few other podcasts as well that I listen to, usually when I drive my car to the office, or when I cook, for example, or when I go on to walk. Yeah, it's really nice just to listen to podcasts, because you may understand the different angles on the problems that you thought about or you have ideas about. And it helps you to see it from different angle and maybe come out with some different solution for the same problem. It's quite nice. I enjoy watching YouTube for example, when I eat. So there's a couple of YouTubers that I prefer to watch. And I think people sort of underestimate Reddit as one of the source of knowledge, because there are plenty of subreddits that actually can teach you a lot of different things. One of the biggest ones is, of course, cybersecurity subreddit. And there are a couple of others. For example, if you're taking OCP or planning to take OCP, so there's also the dedicated subreddit for OCP where the people share their thoughts and etc. etc. So it's quite cool. I think Reddit is one of the very good source of knowledge. And of course, I cannot not to mention books. I think if there is a certain topic that you want to dive in, books is one of the best sources of knowledge for this particular topic. I think there are plenty of books for different kind of topics, right? For CTI, for incident response, for the event detection engineering, normal analysis. Some of them could be outdated, but still they may have this basic knowledge. This is this baseline that you need to establish before you actually go deep dive into this topic. So I guess, yeah, this is my favorite types of sources of knowledge that I use daily.
And any closing thoughts for the listeners that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think mostly I want to share my few thoughts on and give some suggestions for people who just start in their cybersecurity career, or they want to pivot from IT or from different domains to other domains in cybersecurity. I think it's very important to write and blog about your progress. I think plenty of us, started my small blog recently, and plenty of other people, they probably have this registered domain that I don't know, just staying inactive for the last 5 years, but it's still there. So just start blog about what you do, how you do, like your different kind of things, where you're heading, what is your favorite things. And yeah, I think that's quite important because it's usually a part of your portfolio. If you blog something, it's really nice, and it would be really nice to attach it to your portfolio. Yeah. Second thing is networking. I don't know how to network with other people. It's not my best side. It just happened this way that I know a lot of good people in the industry from my region. So I just got lucky in some way. But yeah, I think networking is very good, very important aspects, because if you're looking for a job and you have a big network of the people who trust you and who knows you, so they usually can give you a good idea about open positions, because the best positions in the industry, they not advertised on the LinkedIn. They usually been shared among the other people who is a network. Like if someone knows someone who is a good fit for the position, so I think, yeah, that's probably they would prefer this person instead of hiring someone from somewhere they don't know. Yeah, and don't forget about the fundamentals. So if you work in any kind of industry in cybersecurity, you need to know how operating system work, for example, and how the network works. Yeah, that's just a couple of things that I suggest people to actually learn about and follow those advices.
That's awesome. Valerie, thank you so much for your insights on the podcast. I'm so happy to hear that you also listen to the podcast. So that's super nice to have you here, especially because of it. And I hope I'll see you around. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Pedro, so much for your time. And yeah, just do what you do. You're doing a great job for other people in the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Got thoughts or questions? Connect with us on our LinkedIn group, Cyber Threat Intelligence Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. If you know anyone with CTI expertise that would like to be interviewed in the show, just let us know. Until next time, stay sharp and stay secure.